The Russian Defense Ministry stated that Putin's army occupied Pankovka, while Russian military correspondents claim that the Russian Armed Forces allegedly advanced in the area of Poltavka, Vladimirovka, Shakhovoye, Sofiyivka and Kucherov Yar. Analysts from the Institute for the Study of War have announced the situation in the Pokrovsk direction and in the Dobropolye region. Russian war correspondents claimed that Ukrainian forces counterattacked when Russian troops penetrated northeast of Dobropillya, including in the area of Rubizhne and near Zolotoy Kolodets and Zapovidnoye. Ukrainian military observer Kostiantyn Mashovets reported on August the 20th that Ukrainian forces were counterattacking along the entire perimeter of the breakthrough at Dobropillya. The Ukrainian Armed Forces were counterattacking Russian positions at the base of the breakthrough to cut off the bulge along the Nikanorivka-Mayak line, but Russian forces were still holding several positions along the railway west of Sukhetske. Mashovets said that Ukrainian forces had broken through to Mayak and were fighting in that town. Mashovets reported that units of the 51st Self-Propelled Artillery Brigade of the Russian Armed Forces are operating in the breakthrough near Dobropolye, apparently reinforced by reserve units numbering up to 1.5 battalions, but the command will need time to regroup forces and resources before any units can advance north of Pokrovsk and Mirnograd. Mashovets said the Russian 41st and 2nd Armies were amassing personnel and supplies in the Pokrovsk area in anticipation of future attempts by the 51st Army to break through to the northern outskirts of Pokrovsk and cut land lines of communication to Dobropolye, although that breakthrough was being delayed by Ukrainian counterattacks. Mashovets reported that the 114th and 132nd Motorized Rifle Brigades of the Russian Armed Forces are operating northeast of Pokrovsk between Shakhovo and Novoye Shakhovo and are advancing in the direction of Kucherov Yar in order to advance towards the remaining Russian assault units in the village, but are unable to break through. At the same time, the 1st Motorized Rifle Battalion and the 39th Motorized Rifle Brigade are attacking Ukrainian positions east of Nikanorivka and have captured a forest belt north of Zatishko. Units of the 137th Motorized Rifle Brigade and the 72nd Special Forces Battalion are advancing in the direction of Grodovka and Mirnograd and have advanced 1 kilometer in the direction of Promin. Units of the 15th Separate Motorized Rifle Brigade are operating in the area of Udachnoye but have not advanced, and the 1437th Motorized Rifle Regiment continues to operate in Zverevo. Russian military bloggers on August the 20th said that the Dobropolye breakthrough remains an unstable section of the front, and neither Ukrainian nor Russian forces are capable of seizing the initiative. One military blogger said that Russian troops are maintaining positions in Zolotoy Kolodets despite Ukrainian counterattacks, and Russian troops are strengthening their positions in Rubizhne. Another military correspondent said that Ukrainian troops have allegedly cleared Zolotoy Kolodets and Kucherov Yar, but did not confirm these reports. An intelligence officer with the Ukrainian Special Forces unit operating in the Pokrovsk direction reported on August the 20th that Russian troops are using thermal imaging camouflage devices to protect against drones and are moving electronic warfare systems to forward infantry positions to counter Ukrainian drone activity. The intelligence officer said that Russian troops often try to transport electronic warfare systems to the contact line on motorcycles and scooters because Ukrainian drone activity is making it difficult for Russian troops to reach central observation points. The Russian community continues to develop its structure in the annexed Crimea. Offices have been opened in Simferopol and Sevastopol. District and city branches are being created, and the organization's volunteers have begun patrolling the peninsula's major cities. This was reported by a correspondent from Crim Relay. In addition to patrolling, the vigilantes are involved in police and FSB raids. The Crimean Russian Community Squad has established working contacts with law enforcement agencies, and we are already being called in for law enforcement raids. So far, these are mainly trips to construction sites to identify and detain migrants who have violated the law. We are also invited to ensure order at citywide celebrations. Recently, our brothers from Sevastopol helped the police ensure security at the birthday of the Sevastopol Defense Museum celebration, one of the Russian community members said, on condition of anonymity. According to the source, the Russian community in Crimea operates without official registration. All activities of the Russian community and its squad in Crimea are self-sufficient. The squad members must purchase a gas canister from their coordinator for 3,000 rubles and an ID for 2,600 rubles. Unfortunately, we do not have a mass influx of Russians into the community, nor do we have rich sponsors. An informal structure connected to the ultra-right Russian community has begun to develop in the territory of annexed Crimea. Its participants are forming so-called squads, a security wing that plans to patrol Crimean cities. In July, more than 40 men in Crimea have already joined the squad, and now their number has grown significantly. At the conference of the Russian community, which took place on July the 12th in Simferopol with the participation of coordinator Andrei Kachuk, a decision was made to create combat fives, a commander, a negotiator, an operator, and 2 fighters. Crimean coordinators were instructed to speed up the process and begin patrolling from Simferopol for now in the evening. Since the organization is informal, they call it walks. The head of the Crimean squad was instructed to establish interaction with local law enforcement agencies and administrations, the interlocutor of Crim.Relay noted. Despite the fact that the organization Russian Community of Crimea, registered under Russian law, operates in Crimea, a parallel informal structure with the same name is actively developing on the peninsula. Its participants do not hide their sympathies for right-wing radical ideology and declare their readiness for self-organization without official status. The Russian community is becoming more active against the backdrop of high-profile incidents in Russia itself. For example, in Krasnozavodsk, near Moscow, a mass brawl recently broke out between natives of Chechnya and Ingushetia and, presumably, representatives of the Russian community. In recent months, members of this organization have been raiding cafes, hostels, and markets owned by people from the Caucasus, conducting unauthorized checks. Despite the violence and threats, Russian law enforcement officers in most cases limit themselves to formal responses.